G'day, welcome again to another episode of Sidekick TV. If you're watching in the Sidekick Business Lounge on Facebook, welcome again. And if you're watching on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. Today I'm joined by Saskia Shaw, who's a new client of ours, who's just set up a new business, Breakup Box.
Breakup Box is essentially like gifts for people going through breakups. I've got your nice kind of like pink heartbreak kind of boxes, and then I've got your slightly more like funnier, more inappropriate kind of boxes. But yeah, it's just something that I thought would be really nice for people going through breakups, because I feel like in society breakups are quite like glossed over. Like you always hear about like, oh, she broke her arm, like I hope she's okay. But then with breakups it's like, oh my god, they broke up, like what's the tea, So people just aren't as like aware of how damaging they actually are, like psychologically. And then also in terms of myself, like I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My parents are entrepreneurs and they are just the happiest people I know. And yeah, the idea of trading like my time all day for money just wasn't appealing to me. Going through a breakup myself, over the period of like high school and now to leaving high school, they're really not fun. And yeah, I just felt like having something fun and like more of a community in the form of a business would be, there was like a gap for that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love some of the other things that you've added on, because it's not just a product business that you've done, because I think that would be potentially quite easy to compete with. It's the additional stuff around it, that you've actually built a whole environment around this box. So can you tell me more? You've got Spotify playlists, you've got Netflix recommendations, what's the actual client experience that you've designed for people?
Yeah, so I guess the idea is that, let's say you've got a girl going through a breakup, two of her friends go halves, they buy her a box, she gets the box in the mail, with all the stuff in it, chocolate tissues, whatever else it may be, body scrubs, but then there's also a wee card in there that has links to Spotify playlists. So we've got 3, we've got Too Glam to Give a Damn, which is kind of like your party, like I'm over him one. You've got your boy bye one, which is a bit sassy, a bit angry. And then you've got your And My Feels one, which is like just when you need to cry. Like, I don't know if you understand that as a male, but sometimes you just need to cry. And then we've also got on our social media, we've got like movie of the week, like recommendations of movies to help you through breakups. And then also on the social media, like the Instagram, for example, is just pretty much a whole like catalogue of like quotes and just motivation that you're going to be fine. And it's not the end of the world. And
what made you design that around, a box of feel-good pampering products?
I feel like as nice as a breakup box is, when you give someone that, like, they're going to be really happy for like an hour and they're going to feel really loved and blah blah blah, but then that friend's going to leave and then they're alone in their bedroom at night again, and it's kind of like that extra wee layer of something else to help them through it, rather than just like a gift, because for some people a gift is like an amazing thing, for some people it's not as helpful. So just creating like more of a experience rather than just like an item.
And you've been quite specific as well around who this is aimed at. You really started with the client in mind, didn't you? So can you describe who is your typical type A client?
Yeah, so I guess probably like your female, aged 14 to 30. So I guess my friends and I would be like the exact target market. Or like gay guys, or and then probably more that Gen Z, millennial kind of like using TikToks to market, like Instagram, influencers, like, it's really that market.
Yeah, it's not your 35-year-old straight guy buying a gift for another 35-year-old straight guy. Yeah.
Maybe one day, but not yet.
I think when it's a box of beers, maybe.
Yeah, I think, well, actually, I'm looking at doing one, like a just divorced one, and making it like a bit more expensive and like luxury kind of items. So I definitely want to have a bigger target market, but for now, definitely that kind of smaller one, I think in terms of, like, I've just gone live like 2 weeks ago, so it's not crazy yet at all, but I think in terms of like marketing, putting the brand out there, so like influencer marketing, TikToks, like stuff like that, making it cool. When I started, I actually did before I launched, I did a business course that was made by a female entrepreneur in New Zealand, and I didn't go to uni or anything, I just did this course and it was amazing. And she kind of taught that marketing strategy of like putting it out there with influencers and all that, and then reinforcing it with like traditional marketing, so like radio ads, social media like The Edge, billboards, stuff like that. And
this was something that you said as well. They built and sold a successful business in a really short period of time, didn't they, by doing this?
Yeah. She has like Lux Fitness, Celebration Box. What else does she do? Waist Trainer, Good For Me products, like all those. That's all.
Yeah.
So
launches,
she's very smart.
Grows and sells businesses.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Model,
Who else is your centre of influence that helps you make decisions in your business?
So apart from her, I have an amazing photographer. Her name's Charlie Rose Creative. She has been so helpful. She designed the whole photo shoot that I did. And she has been so awesome, like giving me ideas, advice, and then also Gia Creative, G behind Gia Creative, she is amazing as well. Both female business owners in Christchurch, and they're both awesome.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And so what advice would you give to someone that's in a similar position to you? You went through that process of thinking you don't want to be trading time for money forever. What were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome to get into this?
So, I mean, the piece of advice I'd probably give would be just start, because I was ready to launch about 3 months before I did, but I was just so scared to do it, because there's obviously the fear around everyone knows it's me, and what if it fails, and what if no one buys one, and eventually my dad just called me and he was like, if you don't launch by Saturday, hurry up.
I think we had a similar conversation in our first meeting.
So just don't be scared, as cliche as it sounds, just don't be afraid to launch, even though it's really scary. And also I read this quote and it was like, a year ago you would have wished you started then, or something just start, and just, even if you don't know what you're doing, just ask people, and it's all about who you know, not what you know. So asking people who you know for advice, and you don't have to figure everything out yourself. I mean, my dad taught me that as an entrepreneur. I remember this one time I had these pink ice cream scoops in my heartbreak box, and the supplier stopped selling them because of COVID, but I'd already done my photo shoot, and I was so annoyed because I had to find a new ice cream scoop, and I was like, I'm gonna have to do the photo shoot all over again. And I called my dad, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but I was really frustrated, and he was like, yay, this is so exciting, you're an entrepreneur, it's a problem. And I was like, Dad, I'm gonna rant. So just little hurdles like that, and then with the couriers, trying to set up the, because the boxes are quite heavy, they're quite big, so trying to set that up, and just actually doing it, and spending my Saturday night in my room creating Instagram content rather than going out, because I was still working full-time at that point, so I didn't really have any other chance to do it. Just making you're gonna have to make little wee sacrifices like that, but in the end it's worth it.
And one thing that I'd love to echo for where you said just launching, we bought a business a while ago off some chaps down south, and this so Scott in particular, he's got this phrase, and he always says, don't let perfection get in the way of progress. You'll never find perfection. Just launch, you'll find out what the problems are. You could have never planned that you're going to not be able to get those pink ice cream scoops.
Exactly.
And if you waited for it to be perfect, you never know. Your dad was right. You got a problem. Great.
Yeah, and actually the girl whose course I did, she has a quote too, and she says, launch at 70%. If you launch at 100%, you launch too late.
Yeah.
So that was a good one too. I probably launched at about 80 actually, so I probably was a bit late. But yeah, so that was really helpful.
Awesome. Awesome.
So like I said, I went through, there's kind of a story behind it. So I went through a bit of a breakup, and I actually invited a ton of my girlfriends over to watch Sex and the City and eat cake, because my flatmate at the time was going through a similar kind of breakup, so we were both just miserable. And one of my friends brought me this big cake, and it said something like "boys suck" or something like that. And I kind of just had the idea of what if there was actually something you could buy for this kind of situation. And so I pretty much went to Shardlow's, which is a gift, packaging company in Christchurch, and I bought a ton of different boxes, and I laid them out over my bedroom floor, and I had 2 box ideas, and I just literally went to the Palms and bought a ton of things in that colour, and then just arranged them in my room, and then kind of was a few months of a process of oh yep, this is too heavy, or oh yep, that looks good, but I can't ship it because it's I can't get enough of them if I ever needed more than 10. This company does wholesale, this company doesn't. So I guess with a gift box company, it's a little bit different because you're selling other people's products.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the next business I do, I'd love to have my own product that I've made. So I don't think I could give advice in that area yet, just because I don't actually know how it works and go about making your own thing. But yeah, in terms of gift boxes, I literally just spent months making them in my room, and then I was actually working at a law firm at the time, and I just asked one of the partners hey, what do I need to do to make this legal?
Yeah.
And he did it for me, and I knew a bit of marketing from working in marketing previously, and I kind of just figured it out and registered it, and here we are.
Yeah.
So I guess I think sometimes as employees, we look at business owners as these people who know what they're doing, and I don't know what I'm doing. Everything was actually surprisingly easy to do, but it just took ages.
Yeah.
And a lot of effort, and there was so many times when a week I'd just do nothing because I was super discouraged, and I've still got so much to do, a lot of admin. Coding after pay and lay-by and all of that, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah. And look, honestly, I think that so many business owners can relate to that, whether you're a plasterer, whether you own and run a factory, you do fast-moving consumer goods, there's always that feeling of, almost that imposter syndrome going, people expect me to know this.
Yeah.
But the truth of it is, you might not, if you've not had that problem yet, or if you've not had to go through it. Yeah,
I think I'm definitely, as a person, much more independent, because I've literally just had to figure out this huge thing over a year with no help from financially or anything. Just I've had people I know help me figure things out, but it's just me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely helped me. I've learned more in the last year doing this than I have working at any job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, look, thank you so much, Saskia, for sharing all that information, and that was a really honest, rundown of what starting a business is like. And these are the kind of stories that we want to be sharing more of, and also hope for be able to promote you out to more of our audience as well. So thank you so much, Saskia.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you for having me.